Have you ever sat alone in your living room, the silence pressing in, and thought to yourself, is this really what life was meant to feel like now? Maybe the house that once echoed with laughter and footsteps is now still, and the phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. Maybe the days feel longer, and the nights feel even lonelier. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something right away. You're not the only one feeling this way. And more importantly, you're not stuck in this space forever. There's a quiet truth that many of us face as we grow older. Friends move away. Our children become busy with families of their own. Loved ones pass on. And somewhere along the way, we find ourselves alone in a life that used to feel so full. But here's the good news. Even in the stillness, even in the quiet, there is room to rediscover joy. There are gentle, powerful things you can do, not just to fill the space, but to truly live again. Because this chapter of your life, believe it or not, still holds meaning, growth, and connection. You just have to know where to begin. Let's start with something simple but powerful: getting outside every day. It might not sound like much, but stepping outside, feeling the sunlight on your skin, or just listening to the sound of birds or the rustle of the wind in the trees has a way of making you feel a little more alive. Even if it's just a walk around the block or sitting on a bench near your building, that small act reminds you that the world is still moving and you're a part of it. There's something healing about being in nature, even just for a few minutes. The sun gives you vitamin D, which helps your bones and your mood. The movement helps your joints, and the simple act of being around trees, sky, or fresh air can quiet the mind. Don't wait for someone to invite you out. Don't wait for perfect weather. Just put on your shoes and step out. Even if you don't walk far, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, you'll feel the difference. And once you're back home, instead of going straight to the TV or sitting in silence, try this. Create a little routine for yourself. It doesn't have to be strict or complicated. Just something that gives your day structure. Maybe you always water your plants after breakfast. Or you sit near the window and read a chapter of a book. Maybe you write in a small notebook or play your favorite song while tidying up. These small anchors in your day give you a sense of purpose. When life feels unpredictable or empty, a routine can ground you. It helps you remember that you're still in charge of how you spend your time. You still have choices. You still have the ability to shape your day with care. Another thing that might surprise you is how helpful it is to talk to strangers. Yes, strangers. Not in a deep, soul-bearing way, but just little interactions here and there. The cashier at the grocery store, the person walking their dog, someone else sitting alone at the park. When we're younger, conversations happen all the time, at work, with our kids, with neighbors. But as we age, those daily chats can fade away. So we have to create them. A smile, a hello, a small comment about the weather. It might feel small, but it's a thread of connection. And you never know when one of those threads turns into something more. You might meet someone like you, someone who's also looking for a little conversation, a little warmth. You don't have to dive into deep friendship right away. Just begin with presence, with eye contact, with a few kind words. People are often more open than they appear. And here's something else. Don't underestimate the power of your hands. Keep them busy. Try something creative, something calming. Crochet, painting, baking, woodworking, puzzles, even organizing old photos. Your hands have done so much in your lifetime. Raised children, built things, written letters, cooked meals. Let them keep creating. Doing something with your hands gives your mind a break from worry. It fills the quiet moments. It gives you something to look forward to. And when you finish something, no matter how simple, it gives you a sense of accomplishment. It's not about being good at it. It's about enjoying the process. And maybe most importantly, try giving a little of yourself to someone else. I don't mean financially. I mean your time, your listening ear, your wisdom. Maybe it's volunteering at the library. Maybe it's writing letters to soldiers or children in hospitals. Maybe it's helping another senior at the community center. When we give, we stop thinking so much about what we lack. We remember that we still have value to offer. We still have something to give. That feeling, the one that comes from being needed, from being helpful, it's powerful. It brings light back into your heart in ways nothing else can. If you've lost someone you loved, you might feel like there's no space left in your heart. But hearts don't shrink when they've been broken. They expand. They hold more memories, more wisdom, more compassion. And one of the most beautiful ways to honor those we've lost is to keep loving, to keep living. So even if you're alone right now, even if the silence feels too loud, please know this: you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. There is still a place for you in this world, and there are still people out there, some of whom you haven't even met yet, who would be better just for knowing you. Let's take this one step at a time. You don't need to rush. Just take a breath and begin with one small thing today. Step outside, smile at someone, make yourself a cup of tea and sip it by the window. This day is yours. This life is still yours. And now that we've started to explore what's possible when you're alone, let's keep going. Because there are more ways to bring joy, comfort, and meaning back into your everyday life. Gentle, healing things that you can begin today. You know, sometimes when people say, "You've got to love yourself first," it sounds a bit like a cliché, something easy to say but hard to live. But when you're spending a lot of time alone, it becomes more than just a nice idea. It becomes necessary. There's a kind of quiet strength that comes from treating yourself with gentleness and respect, especially when no one else is around to do it for you. That means not waiting for a birthday or a visit to wear your favorite clothes, not saving the good china for someone else. Light that scented candle. Make your coffee just the way you like it. Sit down and enjoy the small luxuries, not because someone's watching, but because you deserve that kindness from yourself. And while you're doing that, take time to really notice how you're feeling, not just physically, but emotionally. It's okay to feel sadness. It's okay to miss people, to wish things were different. You're human. But don't let the sadness sit alone. Invite it to walk with you, to talk with you. Write it down. Sing it out. Give it a name. The moment we name our emotions, they stop being so heavy. They become something we can carry instead of something that carries us away. Sometimes the best thing you can do on a hard day is simply say, "Today was tough," and then make a small plan for tomorrow. Just one thing, something to look forward to. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a book, calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while, baking something sweet, picking flowers on your morning walk. One little moment that says, "I am still here and I'm still living." Connection is important, but connection doesn't always mean a crowd. In fact, some of the most beautiful connections come in the quietest ways. A letter to an old friend, a comment on a neighbor's garden. Even watching a meaningful movie that stirs up a memory can connect you to something deeper. You don't always have to be around people to feel close to life. You just have to be open to the little signals the world sends you. But let's not pretend that loneliness disappears with routines or hobbies or even a positive mindset. Some days it creeps in anyway. That's when it helps to have a place where you can talk honestly. Maybe that's a journal. Maybe it's a support group or even a counselor. Or maybe it's just a trusted friend who listens without rushing to fix things. There's nothing weak about saying, "I feel lonely." There's strength in knowing yourself well enough to be honest. And sometimes the simple act of speaking it out loud lifts just enough weight off your chest so you can breathe a little easier. Another gentle practice that can bring peace into your life is gratitude. Again, I know that sounds like something people say without much meaning, but done right, it's one of the most powerful habits you can build. I'm not talking about making a list of things just to feel better. I mean actually noticing the things that are still good in your day. The light pouring through the curtains, the taste of warm soup on a cold evening, the sound of your favorite song playing on the radio. Try this. Every night before bed, close your eyes and think of 3 moments from your day that felt good. They don't have to be big. Maybe the breeze was nice. Maybe you caught a whiff of something that reminded you of childhood. Maybe your knees didn't ache as much when you walked today. Those little things add up. And over time, your mind begins to shift. It starts to search for those moments during the day, like a quiet scavenger hunt for joy. And don't be afraid to get a little silly now and then. Laugh at something, even if no one else is around. Watch a comedy, read an old comic strip, play a song from your youth and dance around the kitchen. There is no age limit on joy. You don't stop being allowed to laugh just because the house is quiet. In fact, laughter becomes even more sacred when we learn to create it ourselves. If you've lived a long life, you've probably weathered many storms. You've said goodbye to people you loved, let go of dreams that never came to be, adapted to a world that keeps changing faster than we can keep up with. And yet, you're still here. You're still breathing. That in itself is proof of your resilience. So what would it look like to trust yourself again? To believe that even now, even in this quieter chapter of life, there are things left for you to experience? You don't need to go on a big adventure to feel alive. Sometimes aliveness comes in the most ordinary moments. The warmth of a blanket, the scent of coffee, the sound of birds outside your window. You might feel like no one sees you anymore, but I want to remind you, your story still matters. Your presence still matters. There are people out there, maybe strangers, maybe neighbors, maybe someone watching this very video, who would be moved by your words, your memories, your wisdom. And if the world has grown quieter around you, maybe now is the time to find your own voice again. To write a letter to your younger self. To record a message for your grandchildren. To leave behind a piece of your heart that someone will discover one day and think, I'm so glad this person lived. Every stage of life brings challenges. But this stage? This one holds a special kind of beauty. The kind that only comes from having lived and loved and lost and kept going anyway. You've earned the right to slow down, to reflect, to simplify, but you also have the right to laugh, to connect, to fall in love with life again, on your terms. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is choose to keep showing up, to keep finding new ways to care for yourself, to let yourself feel everything: joy, grief, gratitude, longing, and still choose to try again tomorrow. So let's take that next step together. Your days may look different now, your pace may be slower, but the heart still beats with the same quiet hope. And that hope is where everything begins. You might not notice it at first, but when you start doing even the smallest things for yourself with care, life begins to shift. The world feels less cold. You begin to feel less like you're just waiting for something or someone, and more like you're living again, step by step, breath by breath. One of the quietest but most powerful ways to keep moving forward is to reconnect with something you used to love. Maybe you haven't picked up a paintbrush in decades. Maybe your guitar has been collecting dust. Maybe you once loved to bake, or garden, or write poems that only you ever read. Go back there. Return to that thing, not because you need to master it or show it off, but because it once made your soul feel light. Chances are, it still can. Sometimes we lose pieces of ourselves when life gets busy, when grief takes over, or when we begin to feel invisible. But those pieces don't disappear. They just wait for us to return. And when you start picking them up again, you may be surprised by the sense of wholeness that begins to come back to you. And if you're thinking, it's been too long, or I'm too old to start again, I want you to pause right there. There's no such thing as too late when it comes to joy. Not for small pleasures, not for friendships, not for healing. As long as you are here, there is still time. And speaking of time, let's talk about how you spend it. One of the hardest parts of growing older, especially when you're alone, is the endless stretch of hours. The days can feel repetitive. You might find yourself watching the same shows, eating the same meals, walking the same path. Familiarity can be comforting, but it can also become heavy when it starts to feel like you're just passing time, not living it. Try this. Change one small thing in your daily rhythm. Take a different walking route. Rearrange your furniture. Buy a new kind of tea. Watch a documentary about a place you've never been. Little changes wake up the brain. They give your day texture. They remind you that life isn't just about routines, it's about curiosity. And curiosity, by the way, is one of the things that keeps your spirit young. If you can wake up in the morning and say, "I wonder what I'll discover today," that simple thought can shift everything. It can open you up to new conversations, new experiences, even new relationships. You might think deep friendships can't be formed later in life, but let me tell you something. Some of the most meaningful connections happen after 60, even after 70. Why? Because by then, you've seen enough of life to know what really matters. You're not looking to impress. You're looking to connect, to understand, to be understood. So don't be afraid to reach out. Attend that community event, even if you're nervous. Join that book club, even if you haven't read a book in months. Say yes to that lunch invitation. These small steps, awkward as they may feel at first, can lead to moments of warmth you didn't even know you needed. And if there's no one around to invite you, be the one who invites. You'd be surprised how many others are feeling exactly the way you do, longing for company but unsure how to ask for it. Be the brave one. Be the one who says, "Want to take a walk with me?" Or, "Would you like to join me for tea?" Sometimes the door to a new chapter opens when we're the ones who knock first. But even with new friendships and rediscovered joys, there will still be hard days. That's part of life. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just means you're human. When those days come, be extra gentle with yourself. Rest. Cry if you need to. Talk to someone. Or just sit with your thoughts and know that they won't last forever. And remember, there is a kind of quiet dignity in being alone. Not the same as loneliness, but solitude. Solitude is where you meet yourself, where you listen to your heart without distraction. It's where you realize that you are your own oldest friend. You've walked through every season of life with yourself. You've survived heartaches and disappointments and moments of overwhelming beauty. You've been there for you. And now, more than ever, it's time to honor that. So take a moment. Breathe. Feel the weight of your own presence, how steady it's been through the years. No one else knows your journey the way you do. No one else has felt your exact joys or carried your exact grief. That makes your story uniquely yours, and it's worth sharing. Maybe with a friend, maybe with a stranger, maybe in a journal, or maybe just with yourself as you sit with a cup of something warm and whisper, "I'm still here, and I'm still trying." You don't need to do grand things to live a good life. You just need to keep choosing to show up. For yourself, for your memories, for the hope that tomorrow holds something new. Because when you grow old and find yourself alone, you might feel like life has passed you by. But the truth is, life is still calling. Softly, gently, in the quiet of your morning coffee or the rustle of leaves outside your window. It's there, whispering, "You're still here." And there's still beauty to be found. Some mornings you'll wake up and still feel that ache, that familiar emptiness, that quiet yearning for someone to share the day with. And that's okay. It means you've loved. It means you've lived. But just because someone is no longer beside you doesn't mean you've reached the end of connection. There are still moments waiting to be shared, still people out there who would be grateful just to sit with you, to hear your stories, to be seen by someone who truly knows how precious life is. If there's one thing I hope you take from our time together, it's this. You are never too old to begin again. Not too old to laugh. Not too old to cry. Not too old to fall in love with life all over again. There's no expiration date on healing. There's no final deadline for joy. You see, when you're alone, it's easy to believe that the world has moved on without you. But the truth is, the world is still here, waiting for your touch, waiting for your wisdom, waiting for your presence. You might not realize how deeply your smile can impact someone passing by, or how much comfort your voice could bring to a neighbor, a friend, or even a stranger. You may think you've faded into the background, but someone, somewhere, is looking for exactly the light that you still carry. And the most powerful thing? That light doesn't come from being busy or perfect. It comes from being real, from sitting quietly with your memories and still choosing to stand back up, from offering kindness without expecting anything back, from loving the little things, a warm blanket, a shared cup of tea, the smell of rain, the sound of an old song that still makes you close your eyes and remember. These are the riches of later life, not in the noise, not in the hustle, but in the slowness, the stillness, the understanding that life isn't about having everything, it's about appreciating everything. So, if today feels heavy, let yourself rest. If tomorrow feels uncertain, hold on to the fact that you've made it through so much already. And if the days feel long, fill them with something small but meaningful. Write that letter. Call that friend. Try that new recipe. Visit that little shop you've passed 100 times but never entered. Life has a funny way of surprising us when we give it room to. And on those days when you feel invisible, when the world rushes by and you wonder if anyone still sees you, I want you to remember this. You are not forgotten. You are not left behind. You are part of something greater. A quiet, wise, beautiful part of the world that deserves to be cherished. Maybe you're not as fast as you once were. Maybe your hands tremble a bit. Maybe your memories slip in and out like fading light. But that doesn't make you any less. In fact, it makes you more seasoned, more tender, more deeply human. You've earned the right to be exactly who you are, without apology. You've earned your stories, your scars, your silence, and your smiles. You've lived through decades of change, of loss, of joy, of growth. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. So take today as a gentle invitation to be soft with yourself, to try something new, even if it's small, to speak kindly to your reflection, to forgive yourself for the things you didn't say or the people you couldn't keep, and to welcome the future with open hands, even if they tremble. And maybe tonight, as you settle in, you'll feel that familiar stillness around you. But now, instead of fearing it, you'll understand it differently. You'll know it's not emptiness. It's space. Space for your breath. Space for peace. Space for whatever beautiful, surprising thing might find you tomorrow. If this video has brought you comfort, if you felt seen or simply less alone, even just for a few minutes, I hope you'll leave a comment and let me know. It reminds me that we're still walking this road together. And maybe someone else scrolling through the comments will see your words and feel a little less lost too. Please like this video if it resonated with you. Share it with someone who might need these words today. And if you'd like more quiet encouragement, more gentle reminders that your life still holds meaning, don't forget to subscribe. This space is for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for still showing up, for yourself and for the people who love you, even if they don't always say it. Here's to living gently, to aging with grace, to loving fully. Here's to you, and here's to living your best life, at any age.